Welcome to a new episode of the Just Normal Health podcast. We are back, and today we're doing something a little bit different.
A little different.
Yeah, we're taking a single ingredient, something you probably have in your kitchen right now, maybe getting a bit wrinkly in the vegetable drawer, and we're going to give it the full deep dive treatment.
The full scientific scrutiny.
Exactly. Today, we're talking about ginger. Yes, that's what you heard, ginger. And the big question for our deep dive is, what happens to your body when you eat ginger every day? I'm your host, Malika Amr Mostafa.
And I am Dr. Amr Mostafa.
And
I have to say, it is really nice to finally have you on this side of the mixing board.
well, thank you.
We spend so much time talking about all this stuff, over dinner or coffee, debating the latest trends or debunking whatever I saw on social media. It feels right to finally hit record on one of these conversations. I agree completely. And I think ginger is the perfect place to start because it sits right at that intersection of, let's call it grandmother's wisdom and really hardcore biochemistry.
Ooh, I like that.
It's one of those rare topics where the folklore and the science actually seem to meet in the middle, which, that doesn't always happen.
And it really doesn't. And for most people, I think ginger is just a flavor. It's the caramelizing in your stir fry, or maybe that pile of pink stuff next to your sushi that you're not totally sure if you're supposed to eat.
Right, the pickled garnish.
But the research we've got in front of us today, it paints a very, very different picture. We're not looking at a garnish. We are looking at a pharmacological powerhouse.
It is absolutely a powerhouse. And before we get into the chemical pathways and all that, we have to respect the timeline here. This is not some modern superfood craze like, say, kale or a cat-eye that just popped up in the last decade.
Not at all.
We're talking about a rhizome. And technically, it's a stem that grows underground, not a root, though we all call it a root.
That's a good distinction.
That has been a pillar of medicine for over 4,000 years.
4,000 years. I mean, that predates pretty much everything in a modern pharmacy.
It does. If you look at the ancient texts of traditional Chinese medicine or Indian Ayurveda, ginger wasn't just for flavor. It was a foundational tool, a heating herb used to drive out cold and dampness from the body. Now, of course, ancient healers didn't have microscopes.
Right. They didn't know about molecules.
No, but they knew it worked. And the reason it has survived for 4 millennia isn't just because of tradition, it's chemistry.
And that's exactly what I want to dig into, because usually when something has been around that long, modern science eventually comes along and says, well, actually, it's mostly placebo. But with ginger, it feels like the more we look, the more we find. So what's the secret weapon here? When I bite into a piece of raw ginger, and I have done this, it's not fun.
Oh, it's intense.
It has that intense burning peppery kick. What is that?
That sensation right there, that is the key. That heat, that pungency, it comes from a bioactive compound called gingerol.
Gingerol sounds simple enough.
In the biochemical world, it is the hero of our story today. Gingerol is the primary active ingredient in fresh, raw ginger. Chemically, it's related to capsaicin, which you find in chili pepper,
Which makes them hot.
and piperine, which is in black pepper. But gingerol has this unique profile. It's a very potent antibacterial agent, and maybe even more importantly for our discussion today, it's a massive antioxidant.
Okay, I want to pause on that word antioxidant because I feel like it gets thrown around so much on, cereal boxes and skin creams that it's almost lost its meaning. When we say gingerol is an antioxidant, what is it actually doing inside our bodies?
That is a great question. We need to be specific.
Yeah.
So in your body, all your normal metabolic processes, breathing, eating, moving, they produce these waste products called free radicals.
Okay.
Now, a free radical is just an unstable molecule. It's missing an electron. So it tears around your cells trying to steal an electron from other important molecules like your DNA, your proteins, your cell membranes.
It's causing damage.
It's causing damage. We call this oxidative stress. The best analogy is rust. It's like biological rust happening from the inside out.
Okay, so free radicals are literally rusting our cells. That's a scary thought.
It is. And an antioxidant, like gingerol, is a molecule that is very generous. It has an extra electron it can donate, so it gives its electron to the free radical, neutralizing it and stopping that chain reaction of damage.
So it puts out the fire.
It puts out the fire. So when we say ginger is an antioxidant, we mean it is stopping cellular rust and DNA damage at a truly microscopic level.
Wow. That makes the stakes feel a lot higher than just, it's good for you.
And just to set the stage for everyone listening, we've got a stack of research here, and we've broken it down into 9 specific benefits. We're going to go through them systematically from your stomach all the way up to your brain and even your immune system.
That's right.
We'll talk about nausea, of course, but we're also going to get into things like cancer prevention and Alzheimer's disease. And we will get deep into the mechanisms for those really serious conditions.
Wow.
But first, we have to start with our standard disclaimer.
Right. Always. We are looking at unbiased, fact-checked sources. We are here to break down the science, but we are not your personal doctors.
No, we are voices in your headphones.
Exactly. Nothing we say today should replace the advice of a healthcare professional who actually knows you and your medical history. If you want to make big changes to your diet or health regimen, please talk to your own doctor first.
Always. Knowledge is power, but safety is absolutely paramount.
Okay, with that said, let's get into it. Part 1, the digestive powerhouse. This is the one everyone knows, right? If you feel sick, you drink ginger ale.
Right.
Though, quick side note, you really have to check the label on that because most modern ginger ale is just sugar, carbonated water, and artificial flavoring.
Very little, if any, real ginger.
Exactly. But historically, this is ginger's main claim to fame.
It absolutely is. It's the bread and butter of ginger's utility. In Chinese medicine, it was the #1 intervention to prevent vomiting. But we need to go beyond just saying it helps and really understand how it helps. It's not magic. It's pure physiology.
So break it down for us. What's the first thing that happens?
When you consume real ginger, it triggers this cascade in your digestive tract. The very first thing is it stimulates the production of saliva in your mouth and then gastric juices in your stomach.
So it's basically flipping the on switch for the whole digestive system.
Precisely. It primes the pump. But the real magic for nausea happens with something called gastric emptying.
Gastric emptying.
Often when you feel nauseous or you have that awful heavy brick in the stomach feeling, it's because of something called gastric stasis. Your stomach has essentially gone on strike. The food is just sitting there.
So it's not moving.
It's not moving. It's fermenting, creating gas, stretching the stomach walls. And that physical distension of the stomach is what triggers the vomit reflex in your brain.
Oh, okay. So the brain panics because the food isn't going anywhere.
Correct. Ginger acts as what we call a prokinetic agent. It gently forces the stomach to empty its contents into the small intestine more rapidly. It clears that backlog.
So it gets the traffic jam moving.
Exactly. But it's also doing something else at the same time. We have to talk about the muscles themselves.
The text mentions that ginger is an antispasmodic. What does that mean?
Yes. Okay, so think about what a muscle cramp is. It's a muscle contracting violently and just staying contracted.
Or
right?
just painful.
If your stomach or your intestines are spasming like that, that's pain. That's heaving. An antispasmodic agent, like the compounds in ginger, binds to receptors on those smooth muscles and basically tells them to relax.
Wait, so it's doing two opposite things at once. It's pushing the food forward, but it's also relaxing the muscles. That seems contradictory.
It seems like it, but it's actually coordinating the movement. It stops the chaotic, painful spasms and promotes the rhythmic forward motion that we call peristalsis.
Okay, so it's turning chaos into an organized push.
A very good way to put it. And this is why it's so effective for such a wide range of nausea types, from pregnancy-related morning sickness to motion sickness on a boat or in a car.
And I see in our notes here that it's not just gingerol doing all this heavy lifting. There's a whole team. We've got gingerols, shojols, and zingarones.
It's a team effort, and this is where it gets really interesting chemically. Gingerol is the main compound in raw ginger.
Okay.
But when you dry ginger, or you cook it, the heat changes its chemical structure. The gingerol converts into something called shogal. And shogal is actually much more potent, both in its anti-inflammatory properties and its pungent taste.
Whoa, that's fascinating. So dried ginger isn't just old ginger, it's chemically a different substance.
It is. And zingarone, the third one you mentioned, is created when shogal is cooked. So depending on how you prepare your ginger, as a raw tea, as a dried powder in a capsule, or cooked in a curry, you are getting a slightly different cocktail of these bioactive compounds.
But they all work together to soothe the gut.
They all work synergistically, yes.
So let's get practical. If I'm dealing with some mild nausea, let's say I'm a bit carsick, or it's that first trimester of pregnancy feeling, what's the best way to take it? Please don't say I have to chew on the raw root.
You can, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
That shock of flavor might just make you vomit on the spot.
Right.
No, the most gentle and effective method is a simple ginger tea. But you have to make it correctly.
Is there a wrong way to make tea?
Oh, yes. If you just dip a store-bought bag in hot water for 30 seconds, you're mostly just getting flavored water. You're not getting the medicine.
So what's the right way?
You want to take about 1 teaspoon of freshly grated root, put it in a cup, pour boiling water over it, and this is the crucial part, cover it and let it steep for at least 10 minutes.
10 minutes. That requires a bit of patience when you're not feeling great.
It does. But you need that time and that sustained heat to really extract the gingerols and the aromatic essential oils from the fiber structure of the root. If you drink it too soon, you miss out on the good stuff.
And how often?
Drinking that 2 to 3 times a day is the standard clinical recommendation for mild nausea.
But, and we have to say this again, if you are vomiting severely, if you can't keep any fluids down, this isn't the time for tea. You need to see a doctor.
Absolutely. Ginger is for management of mild symptoms. It's not a cure for an acute emergency. Dehydration is very dangerous.
Got it. Okay, let's pivot slightly from nausea to its annoying cousin, indigestion. That bloating, the gas, the heartburn. I feel like this is a daily battle for a lot of people.
The dreaded food coma. It's incredibly common. You know the symptoms. Abdominal pain, feeling too full, excessive burping, heartburn. And while other herbs like peppermint or fennel are often used, ginger really stands out because of its anti-inflammatory action.
We keep coming back to that word, inflammation. Is indigestion actually an inflammatory condition?
A lot of the pain associated with it is yes. When your gut lining gets irritated, it becomes inflamed. The gingerols go in and reduce that inflammation directly, which helps to cut the pain signal.
So it's like a topical anti-inflammatory for the inside of your stomach?
That's a great way to think about it. And for heartburn specifically, ginger has a really interesting mechanism. It seems to help regulate gastric acid production.
So it prevents the acid from, bubbling back up?
In mild cases, yes. It helps to balance the pH environment in the stomach. And because it also moves food out of the stomach faster, remember that gastric emptying we talked about?
Right, the traffic jam.
There's simply less material sitting there that can splash back up into your esophagus and cause that burning sensation.
That makes perfect sense. If the stomach is empty, you can't have reflux.
Exactly. So for someone who deals with chronic indigestion, incorporating ginger regularly, maybe as a tea after meals, or even in a concentrated supplement form, can be a real game changer.
Okay, we've covered the gut pretty thoroughly. I want to move up now, way up. Let's get into part 2, neurology and the brain. This is where I think the deep dive really earns its name because most people do not associate a spicy root with their brain health.
No, it's not the first connection most people make.
And the first benefit listed here is a big one, easing migraines.
Migraines are they're incredibly complex and debilitating. They're not just bad headaches, they are full-blown neurological events. And the mechanism by which ginger can help is really fascinating because it has to do with the vascular system. Vascular meaning our blood vessels. Yes. One of the leading theories of migraine pain involves the inflammation and swelling of blood vessels in the brain. Ginger works by inhibiting something called prostaglandins.
Prostaglandins?
These are lipids that basically act as signal flares for inflammation and pain. Ginger comes in and blocks the chemical messenger that's telling the blood vessels to swell up and hurt.
That sounds a lot like how over-the-counter painkillers work, like aspirin or ibuprofen.
It's a very similar biochemical pathway, actually. But ginger adds another layer to its attack.
Yeah.
Remember Shojel, the more potent compound in dried ginger.
The powerful one, yeah.
Well, Shojel has been shown to modulate blood flow in the brain. During a migraine, you have this throbbing, high-pressure blood flow to certain sensitive areas. Shojel can help reduce some of that intense vascular pressure. It doesn't cut off blood supply, of course, but it helps to regulate it.
So it calms the storm in the blood vessels?
It calms the storm. So you're getting a 1-2 punch. You're tackling the inflammation with the gingerols, and you're tackling the blood vessel pressure with the Shojels.
And unlike some heavy-duty migraine medications, it's generally quite gentle on the system.
As long as it's taken in moderation, yes, which we will talk about later.
Okay, moving from one brain issue to another. Anxiety. This one really surprised me when I was reading the notes. I usually think of things like chamomile or lavender when I think of anxiety. Ginger is so stimulating. It's hot. It's fiery. How on earth does it help with anxiety?
It does seem counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We associate hot foods with energy, not calm.
Mm-hmm.
But anxiety is often a very physiological state of stress. Your cortisol levels are up, your muscles are tense, your gut is often in knots, that whole nervous stomach feeling.
The gut-brain axis. We hear about that all the time.
That's it, exactly. Because ginger is so effective at healing the gut and reducing that systemic inflammation, it sends a powerful signal of safety and calm from the gut up to the brain.
So it's calming the body, which then calms the mind.
Precisely. In traditional medicine in Asia and Africa, it wasn't just used for stomach aches. It was used specifically to induce a state of calmness. Modern science is still mapping out the exact mechanism, but it seems to be related to ginger's ability to bind to serotonin receptors.
The happy hormone receptors.
The very same. So it's less of a sedative, like a sleeping pill that knocks you out, and more of what you might call a normalizer.
A normalizer, I like that. It resolves the physical symptoms of the stress, which then allows the mind to settle down on its own.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, now we need to get into the really serious stuff. Benefit number 5, Alzheimer's disease prevention. I read the notes on this, and I had to read them twice. This is a massive claim.
It is a massive claim, and we have to be very careful and precise here. Alzheimer's is a terrifying prospect for so many of us. It involves the progressive degeneration of our brain cells.
It's awful.
To understand how ginger might play a role, we first have to understand the enemy. And the enemy here is something called amyloid beta peptides.
Amyloid beta. Okay, can we break that down? What is it?
Okay, imagine your brain cells are a city, and the synapses are the roads and bridges connecting everything. Amyloid beta is a protein fragment. In a healthy brain, these fragments are regularly swept away and cleared out by the city's cleaning crews.
Okay, so normal maintenance.
Right. But in Alzheimer's disease, for reasons we're still figuring out, these fragments aren't cleaned up properly. They start to stick together. They clump up and form these hard, insoluble plaques that build up between the nerve cells.
Like roadblocks on the city streets.
Worse than roadblocks, they're like toxic roadblocks that physically disrupt communication between the neurons and eventually poison and kill them.
That's devastating.
It is. Now, here's the headline from the research. And I need to stress, these were in vitro laboratory tests, not large-scale human clinical trials yet.
Okay, noted. Lab tests.
In these lab tests, ginger extract was shown to inhibit the production of this amyloid beta plaque by up to 80%.
80%. That's a staggering number.
It is huge. It suggests that ginger might not just be treating the symptoms, it might be interfering with the very production of the gunk that causes the disease in the first place.
How? What's the mechanism there?
It comes back to our old friends, oxidative stress and inflammation. The brain is a very high-maintenance organ. It uses a tremendous amount of oxygen, which means it also produces a lot of free radicals.
More of that biological rust.
A lot of it. And we have 2 specific enzymes in the brain. You don't need to remember the names. Cyclooxygenase 2 and 5-lipoxygenase.
I'm definitely not going to remember those.
You can just call them QX2 and 5-LOX. Think of these enzymes as arsonists. Their job is to run around starting fires of inflammation in the brain.
Okay, arsonists, got it.
Gingerol acts as a fire suppressor. It directly inhibits these enzymes. It stops the inflammation before it has a chance to trigger that plaque formation.
So it stops the arsonists from even lighting the match.
Yes, but it also supports the fire department.
Oh, okay.
We have our own natural antioxidant enzymes in our brain, things like catalase and glutathione peroxidase. These are the good guys, the firefighters who clean up the mess. As we age, our production of them tends to decrease.
Right.
Ginger appears to help maintain the levels of these protective enzymes.
So it's a double pincer movement. It's blocking the bad guys that cause the damage, and it's boosting the good guys that repair the damage.
That is exactly what the science suggests. It creates a neuroprotective environment. Again, we need to see this replicated in large-scale human trials to know about dosage and long-term effects, but the biological plausibility here is incredibly strong.
That is just. It's incredibly hopeful. Even if it's only a piece of the prevention puzzle, it's a piece you can buy at any grocery store.
Which is often the best and most accessible kind of medicine.
Okay, let's move on to part 3. The immune system and respiratory health. This feels very relevant, especially as we head into cold and flu season. Everyone tells you to take ginger shots or drink ginger tea when you're sick. Is that just, marketing, or is there a real substance to it?
There is definite substance to it. If you think of your immune system as your body's fortress, ginger helps to reinforce the walls.
I like that.
First, on a very simple mechanical level, ginger is a warming spice. It increases circulation. It gets the blood moving more efficiently.
And why is that important for immunity?
Well, your immune cells, your white blood cells, they travel through your bloodstream. If you have poor circulation, your troops can't get to the front lines of an infection quickly. Better circulation means a faster immune response time.
So it helps your internal army get where it needs to go faster.
Exactly. But let's zoom in and look at the cellular level. This is where it gets really cool.
Okay, let's meet the troops. Who are we dealing with?
First up, you have your natural killer cells.
That is the coolest name for a cell I've ever heard. NK cells.
It is pretty descriptive. Their job is to patrol your body, identify any of your own cells that have been infected by a virus or have turned cancerous, and then destroy them on site.
So they're the special
They
forces.
are. And both gingerol and shogal have been shown to stimulate your body to produce more of these natural killer cells.
So it's a recruitment drive for the elite soldiers.
Yes. It also increases the activity and production of macrophages.
And what do macrophages do?
They are the big eaters. That's what the name means in Greek. Think of them as the garbage trucks and cleanup crew of your immune system. They engulf bacteria, cellular debris, viruses, and other foreign particles, and literally digest them.
So ginger wakes them up and makes them hungrier.
It makes them more aggressive in their cleaning duties, yes. So you've got a full-scale military operation, you're recruiting more hunter-killers, and you're energizing the cleanup crew.
That's amazing.
And regarding viruses specifically, like the common cold, which is a rhinovirus, or influenza A shogal, has been shown in lab studies to help protect cells from dying when they get infected. It helps preserve the integrity of your respiratory lining.
Which leads us perfectly into the next benefit, helping with asthma. Asthma is terrifying. That feeling of not being able to get a full breath, how can a root possibly help with that?
Asthma is a condition of constriction. The airways, the bronchioles in your lungs, they swell up, the smooth muscles around them tighten and constrict, and they fill up with excess mucus. It's like trying to breathe through a wet straw that's being pinched closed.
That is a vivid and truly awful description.
Ginger works on all three of those problems. First, it works in the airways the same way it works in the stomach. It's an antispasmodic.
So it relaxes those tightened muscles, it unpinches the straw.
Exactly. It helps to relax that constriction. At the same time, its powerful anti-inflammatory properties reduce the swelling of the airway walls, which opens them up.
Okay.
And perhaps most importantly, for immediate relief, it helps to reduce mucus production, and it makes the mucus that is there less sticky and thick, so it's much easier to cough it up and clear your airways.
So for someone with asthma or even just a really bad chest cold, what's the recommended remedy? Is the tea we talked about enough?
The tea is good for daily maintenance and mild symptoms. But for more acute respiratory congestion, our source material suggests something a bit more potent.
Yeah.
Juicing.
Straight ginger juice. That sounds intense.
It is. Taking a 2 to 3 inch piece of fresh root, running it through a juicer, and drinking it straight. It will be incredibly spicy. It will probably make your eyes water.
I can feel it already.
But that intense shock, that heat, is what can help to rapidly break up congestion and force those airways to open. It's like a biological shock to the system to reset your breathing.
Wow. Okay, maybe something to work up to.
Definitely something to be prepared for.
All right, we've arrived at part 4. This is the section where we tackle the major diseases. We've already touched on Alzheimer's, but now we're looking at the two big ones, cancer and diabetes.
These are the heavy hitters of modern medicine.
Let's start with benefit number 8, lowering cancer risk. I always get nervous when I see headlines that say food X cures cancer. So let's be very, very precise here. What does the data actually say?
We must be precise. We are not talking about a cure in the sense that you eat ginger and a tumor vanishes. We're talking about chemoprevention, meaning prevention, and also some potential therapeutic mechanisms.
Okay.
Cancer, at its most fundamental level, is uncontrolled cell growth. It's your own cells that have become damaged, but they refuse to die when they're supposed to.
Zombie cells.
Essentially, yes. Ginger contains a host of antioxidants and phytochemicals that appear to trigger apoptosis in some types of cancer cells.
Apoptosis. That's programmed cell death, right?
It's the self-destruct sequence that's built into all of our cells. It's the command code that says, your time is up, you're damaged, you need to shut down for the good of the whole. Cancer cells have figured out how to ignore that command.
So ginger might help reactivate that self-destruct sequence.
That's what the lab studies suggest.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at prostate cancer, for example. In an in vitro study, meaning in a Petri dish ginger extract, was shown to reduce the growth of prostate cancer cells by up to 40%.
40%, just from ginger extract. And what was the dosage equivalent they were looking at?
It was equivalent to about 3 grams of powdered ginger root per day for a human.
That's totally doable. That's maybe a couple of teaspoons.
It is very achievable in a normal diet.
Yeah.
But the breast cancer study is even more profound, in my opinion. This was published in the Journal of Cancer Prevention Research. It was a study on mice, so we have to give the caveat, mice are not little humans.
Right.
But in these mice, which were given breast cancer, ginger extract reduced the growth of their tumors by 50%.
Half. That's significant.
But here is the detail that really caught my eye. They also looked at human breast cancer cells in a petri dish to observe their behavior. And they found that when exposed to ginger extract, the cells were less likely to, and I'm quoting the description from the research here, spread their tentacles.
Spread their tentacles? That sounds like something out of a horror movie.
It's a very visual description, but it refers to metastasis. This is the most dangerous part of cancer, when it spreads from the original tumor site to other parts of the body, like the lungs or the brain.
Right.
Metastasis requires the cancer cells to be mobile and invasive, and ginger extract appeared to inhibit that mobility. It helped to contain the enemy.
That is. Honestly, if that translates to humans, that's everything. Keeping a tumor contained is more than half the battle.
It is. It targets the very mechanism of spread. Again, this is early research. We need more trials. But adding more ginger to your diet seems like a very low-risk, potentially high-reward strategy.
Wow. Okay. Let's switch gears to the other big one. Benefit number 9. Managing high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes. This is a global epidemic at this point. We eat too much sugar and processed food, and our bodies they stop responding to insulin properly.
Type 2 diabetes is primarily an issue of insulin sensitivity. Your body still produces the key, which is insulin, to let sugar from your blood into your cells for energy. But the lock on the cell door is jammed.
The lock is jammed. I like that analogy. It's simple.
Ginger seems to help lubricate that lock. The gingerols and show gels have been shown to improve insulin sensitivity, which means your body needs to produce less insulin to get the job done.
So it makes the whole system more efficient.
Much more efficient. They may also stimulate the pancreas to produce a bit more insulin if needed. And connecting it all back to the beginning, they reduce chronic low-grade inflammation, which we now know is a major driver of insulin resistance.
Was there a human trial for this one? Because blood sugar is something you can measure so precisely.
Yes, there was a great study in 2009. It was small but rigorous. 16 healthy volunteers. Half got a placebo, and the other half got just 500 milligrams of ginger powder.
500 milligrams. That's a tiny amount, like what you'd find in one capsule.
A very small dose. They took it 3 times a day for 40 days. The results were quite clear. The ginger group had significantly lower postprandial blood glucose levels.
Postprandial meaning after eating.
Yes. That big blood sugar spike that you typically get after a meal was much, much lower in the group taking ginger. This means their bodies were handling the sugar load from their food far more efficiently.
And that's a very practical, real-world result. Stable blood sugar means more stable energy, less of that afternoon crash, and less long-term damage to your blood vessels and nerves.
Exactly. It helps to level out that blood sugar roller coaster.
Okay, we have hyped ginger up a lot. I mean, we've made it sound like an absolute miracle root, so now we have to be the responsible broadcasters and talk about part 5, risks, warnings, and who should be careful.
Yes, this is crucial. Just because something is natural does not mean it is safe for everyone in every quantity.
So what's the general safety profile?
Generally, ginger is incredibly safe with very few side effects when consumed in moderation as part of a healthy diet. Paradoxically, if you take way too much, the most common side effects are mild digestive upset, bloating, nausea, diarrhea.
The very things it's supposed to help with.
The very same. But there are a few specific groups of people, specific contraindications where caution is really needed.
Okay, who needs to watch out?
First on the list, people with gallstones.
Why gallstones specifically?
Ginger stimulates the liver to produce more bile. Bile is the fluid your gallbladder stores to help digest fats. If you have gallstones blocking the exit of your gallbladder, stimulating more bile flow can increase the pressure behind that blockage and cause a very painful gallbladder attack.
Ouch. Okay, so if you have a history of gallstones, talk to your doctor first. That's a clear red flag. Who's next?
Next up, people with diabetes. We just talked about how ginger is great for lowering blood sugar.
Right.
So if you are a diabetic and you are already on medication like metformin or even insulin to lower your blood sugar,
You risk a double effect. You could go too low.
exactly. You risk hypoglycemia or low blood sugar, which can be dangerous. You might feel dizzy, shaky, confused. It's not that you can't have ginger, but you need to monitor your levels very carefully and work with your doctor, who might need to adjust your medication dose.
And I'm guessing the same logic applies to people on blood pressure medication.
Yes. Ginger can have a mild blood pressure lowering effect. So if you're already on medication for hypertension, combining it with high doses of ginger could lead to hypotension, low blood pressure, which can cause dizziness and fainting.
And the last group?
The last group is people with bleeding disorders like hemophilia or anyone taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin or even high-dose aspirin.
Why is that? Because it improves circulation?
It acts as a mild anticoagulant. It makes your blood platelets less sticky, so they don't clump together as easily. This is generally a good thing, but if you're already taking a powerful blood thinner, you don't want to thin your blood even further. It could increase your risk of bleeding or bruising.
So the bottom line is pretty simple.
Yep.
If you have a pre-existing medical condition or you take any prescription medications, just ask your doctor.
Just ask, hey, I'm thinking of adding a ginger supplement to my routine. Is that okay with my current treatment? It's a simple 5-minute conversation that can save you a lot of trouble.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's try to synthesize all of this. We've gone from it helps my tummy ache
Right.
to it might inhibit Alzheimer's plaques and it could prevent cancer metastasis. It's almost overwhelming how versatile this one single root is.
It really is the Swiss Army knife of the plant world. If you start to think about your kitchen as your first pharmacy, a pharmacy with an F, if you will,
I like that.
then ginger belongs right on the top shelf. It regulates your digestion, it boosts your immune system, it protects your brain, and it fights inflammation from head to toe. It covers almost every major base of wellness.
And the best part is its accessibility. It's cheap, it's available in every grocery store. You don't need a special prescription or a trip to a health food store to buy a piece of ginger root.
That is the real beauty of it. It democratizes health. It puts a powerful tool directly into your hands.
Well, I think I'm definitely going to be making some of that 10-minute steeped tea tonight. I might skip the raw juice shot for now. I'm not feeling quite that brave yet. But the tea sounds absolutely perfect.
A very wise choice. Start slow, listen to your body, see how it feels.
This has been such a great deep dive. I feel like I learned so much, even about a topic I thought I already knew. I realized I only really knew half the story.
That is the true joy of these deep dives. No matter how much you know, there's always another layer to uncover.
Before we sign off, we have one very important thing to ask all of you listening.
Yes. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Just Normal Health, so you don't miss any updates and can always stay connected with important health topics that matter.
Also, make sure you turn on that little notification bell so you can catch our latest episodes the moment they're released. We have so much more content coming your way, especially now with this new duo format.
Indeed. It has been an absolute pleasure to do this with you.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Here's to your health.
To your health. Goodbye for now.